Hello, my name is Scott for SB Gaming, and we are in City Skylines. When I last left off, I kind of rambled on into a rather extended, long episode. Mostly it was a mod talk as well as a bit about maps, and it took me a while to actually get into the game. And in a way, I guess you could say that episode could be the equivalent of a planning episode in Prison Architect. If you remember if you've seen my Prison Architect series, you know that the first episode I did not build a single foundation, and I just laid out what I wanted to do with the prison, talked a bit about it, and then from there I jumped into actually building it after episode 2. What I ended up doing is I pretty much only had it got to about 20 minutes before I was like, maybe I should actually jump into the game and build something. So I ended up obviously doing an extended long episode, and now here we are for the first actual episode with gameplay. In the previous episode, we did make sure to build our drain pipe as well as our water pumping station and power. We set up the power line so that these would be connected and we shouldn't have any problems at all. But we are going to also want to make sure to do one thing. That's right. If you know what we forgot to do, we forgot obviously to connect these up with water pipes. And putting them these distance, that's $4,800. This is why you don't wait until the end to put down your water, because you're going to find yourself in a situation where, that's right, you have absolutely no money and you can't connect up water to your city. Fortunately, I caught that early. Yes, I caught it early, but I did, as you can see here, I laid down some initial roads, and what I want to do is I want to have a highway into my city. And prior to doing this, I spent a few hours in the asset creation tool, and I created a bunch of different intersections and road tools, things that I thought I'd probably use a little bit more regularly. The one I have built here, as you can see, it does a one-way into a two-way, in here, out there, basically allowing you to connect to something like this. From there, the road extends out with your regular two-way traffic, and you can do things like crossroads and all that. But this is the kind of thing I wanted to be able to do, get just drop down early on in the game and not have to try to recreate it and rebuild it. And that's what I did there. Fortunately, with the refund mod, that didn't cost me anything to lay down and to demonstrate. So anyway, so this is where all the traffic will be coming into the city. And one of the mistakes that a lot of people do when they're new to the game is they'll build in a regular 2-lane road or something, and crowd up their entrance into their city with buildings and stuff, and then they end up getting traffic jams because they haven't built it properly. I will, once I get access to highways, expand this into highway tiles. But right now, I won't be able to. I can just upgrade these with the highway, and it should provide enough space for me to upgrade those. Anyway, the main core of the city it'll be in here, and it's a sort of a similar structure or layout that I had in my preview city, if you saw that video. But what I will be doing is I will extend this out. I don't know how much. I will probably extend it out about, let's go to here. And I'm going to have a road coming out. something like, and we have another OCD moment, probably right about here. Is that going to be good? Is that going to be good? Okay, that's going to be good. It's about in line with the edge of the map, which will help my OCD moment. Fortunately, we can build, or we can buy every single tile on the map that is buyable, so we don't actually have to worry about which map tiles we pick and choose. And we are going to do the same thing over here, but we are going to pay attention to our money. 37,840, and we are just going to want to extend this enough to build an initial industrial zone here. We are going to build a small residential neighborhood here, and so with that there. And I kind of liked how I had my city in my things set up in my preview test city. And these are the zonable pedestrian tiles, as you can see. They are pedestrian paths with zonable buildings, which will be quite cool. Alright, so yeah, they are in the regular small roads rather than being park decorations. And so what we are going to want to do is, this is going to be residential. We are going to want to stay away from the, is that right? Yeah. Yeah, okay, that's, didn't look like it was coming out straight. We are going to want to have this, and this, what I'm just doing right now is just getting a rough idea of where I want the roads to be, how much of a gap between my residential area and my highway. And if I go here, that just as a rough, that means that, yep, I can have zoning in here. I can have this nice green space by the highway, which I can also use for some other things. And so that's where I will build my city based on. I'm not going to connect into there, right there. Right there, right there. And I plan to have, like in my previous city, commercial along here. But I want to have also a space in between to a gap of, say, 3 for parks and residential space. Is this going to be, yes, that's going to be enough. So this is going to be a guide road for the residential neighborhood. And before I had it, okay, that's going to be good, I think. The OCD is strong in me. Alright, so the first entry into this residential neighborhood, yeah, is going to be there, and I'm going to have another. Let's go right about over here somewhere. Alright, so that's how many? That's 2 guidelines. I was going to go here. Yep, that's good. And I'm going to go 1 here. And this is just going to be the layout I'm going to use. Just a ring road to frame my residential area. I am not going to do the typical, grid where you have, these roads up and down like this. I'm going to do something a little bit creative in here. Usually what happens is people think you can only do a grid, so, square up and down, or you have to go all fancy with the curved tools, but I think a little bit different. And just like in my city, I do want to have a road or ramp access over here. And I may put space here. And I'm going to raise this up. Okay, yeah, that'll be good. But I'm going to want to have a slightly different layout. Alright, so I am going to just because I am OCD and I'm going to want to have, yep, that'll be alright. I'm just going to build a small road here. And I have $26,000. And this is going to be a main route. I don't really want to zone or build anything on there. So I will be coming out, leave about two tiles of green space. Presuming, of course, it works here. Oh. Okay. This might... do I want to do that? This is where my OCD is. Yeah. This is... yeah. Alright, so, alright, and I'm going to want to have... Alright, I'm just going to leave that for now. I know roughly what I want to do. And now, we are going to, come like this. But we aren't going to connect to there. No, we're not. We're going to come like this. Come like this. And you can probably see what I'm doing. Yes. To all those who are allergic to the grid, no, I am not building a grid. Let's go about here. And say about there. We are going to use the usefulness of the grid. And right about here. So you see what I'm doing? I'm using the structure of the grid, but I'm not creating a grid. I'm creating some interesting characteristics and qualities. Oh. To create an interesting... at least I think it's interesting. Now, how about that? It's not all the same. There's lots of things. And this is where the pedestrian paths... oh, they are like that. So, as you know... with the parks, which I don't have access to. Alright, so normally in a space like this, you would not be able to actually put a park in here. And it's really annoying that the parks actually have to have road access. Because this would be the perfect spot. You know, you have houses here, and you would have like a park here in this undefined, unusable space. You know, road, a park entrance here. It makes a lot of sense. This is what you would have in a typical neighborhood. These spaces being used for parks. What this zonable road does is it... well, that looks a little weird. That might be fixed. But what this does, the zonable paths do, is allow you to actually place the park there. It makes the space a little bit useful. What I had to do in the past is take the regular road and like extend it like this. And create this T-junction here, just to be able to get my park to fit in there. And I didn't like that. I didn't like the T-junction here. This is slightly better. I don't quite like it as much, or it's better than the hack that you had to do, but it's still, yeah. Anyway, what we are going to do, we don't have access to. At this point, what I do is I'd also connect, get rid of that. I would connect these various connections here with pedestrian paths so that just because cars, can't get from here to here without going around, the pedestrians will still be able to walk and all that. Alright, so that is the basics of what will be our residential neighborhood. So let's get zoning. Now, where do we have power coming from? I think it would be really useful to start as close as possible to where the power is coming from. So what we are going to do is we are going to, and yeah, I don't want anything along here. No. So I'm going to zone this, and I am also going to leave this open. Why do you ask? Because I might decide to extend a road in here or put that pedestrian path, that zonal path in here so I can throw something in here. I may just use the regular pedestrian paths to put access in through here. Who knows? Also, for something like this here, I'm not going to zone that because if I decide to, I can put a road in here, maybe a little short spur, and what ends up happening is if a building zones here, you extend the road, you destroy it. And it annoys me every time I see, go like this, just fill everything, and then it's like, oh, I need police, I need this, I need that. And then, he lets it build up and then just tramples on all the buildings that have been built there. I'm not going to name names or anything, but it's just something that's irritated me watching his Let's Plays. He'll just take the marquee tool and I want this entire thing to be residential without realizing that he's going to need space for things like parks, things for schools, things for police stations, things for... And it just... My OCD just starts twitching and... Yeah. Anyway, you don't really want to know all about that. And so I'm not going to talk about that. He has his own way of playing. I have my own way of playing. We can all be different, and yeah. Alright, so what I also want to do here is kind of do the same thing. I'm going to want to decide how many, like I might have, I'm going to want to leave some space. I don't know how much space yet. And that might be good there. That much space. Yep, I think that much. So that's where my industrial zone will start off. And is that right? Yeah, I think that's right. Okay, there. I'll get rid of that. And we'll have this come in here. And now, where is that tool? Where's that mod tool? Is there a... Nope. So how do I... If I wanted to, one of the mods that I had installed was to be able to change these intersections. Two-lane gravel path. I'm going to have to take a look at that. But for now, what we'll just do is we'll lay down some industrial. And we are going to want to lay down... Yeah. Alright. Oh, that's going to bother me. And we'll put down this for now. And this. And what I am going to want to do, since it's not going to be connected, put that there for now. Connect there. Make sure we have, yeah, we're down to 7,500. We will, of course, want to make sure that, really? Space already occupied. Alright. Right there. Is that good? No, we're going to have to go over a little bit more. Although what I can do is I can put a little bit of commercial. And like what I don't want to do is build anything in here, because I want to minimize how much traffic is turning in and out and blocking these access points. And also, I will say that I have built a few small parks that I can fit in here, but at this point in time, I do not have access to them. Simply because they are unlocked. When do decorations? So, at Little Hamlet, which is 420 people, taxes and loans, garbage, healthcare, education, so you don't get decorations until probably the second population level. Anyway, that is the basic layout of the city. My nice, I'll just remove that there for now. My nice, what was I going to say? Residential block. I hope you like this kind of design. It's kind of in the shape of a grid, but the roads don't really resemble the grid per se. And you might say, you know what, this is something I might actually see in my own neighborhood. And yes, that was kind of the inspiration I have for it. And hey, we already got some people moving in. One thing I'll want to do as well is, because we do not have a whole lot of stuff, we are going to want to drop the water and power budget, just because we don't need that much electrical and power or water consumption right away. We're going to crank this up to second speed. Oh, I made a mistake. I haven't even connected. That's right, water. I did connect up the power. And yet again, no. Right here. Yep, that'll be good. Alright, let's go a little bit more this way. And there is the ideal spacing is about 440 right there. Yeah, there's a little bit of overlap. And I'll probably have to extend that a little bit more. 480 down. And you can actually see 440. There's actually two spots. If you go one more over, it's actually the same price. 480, 440. So you want to make sure, if you are following the 440 distance for ideal water placement, you will want to make sure you're right at the 440. That is just before the 480. But that is good enough. I will connect. Okay. And there be the problem. So let's just refund that for now. We are going to want to make sure that we actually have the money to connect the water. And oh yes, we don't need the water coming up like this, so That was way too much water consumption. And and the OCD is strong in me. All right, there we go. We got water. We are losing 1,000 per week, and yes, it is indeed weekly income. And oh no, you are not connected. I cannot put in power. I was hoping that the commercial demand would reach, and it looks like I was mistaken. So what we are going to want to do is put in a little bit of commercial, hopefully right there. Just allow the electricity to extend across, hopefully. And yes, I am doing the exact same space. I'm leaving this here for now. Not because I plan to upgrade this road to, say, a 4-lane, which I could if I wanted to. But this is really not a type of road section that needs a 4-lane. And what you'll find a lot in people's cities is they'll expand a lot of the roads. They'll upgrade them to like 4-lane highways or 4-lane roads when in a lot of cases, your residential, you don't need anything more than 2-lane roads. Oh, you are going to need water, and I'm still losing money. 8,000, or no, 800, 792. These could go. Okay, well, let's throw down some more commercial, possibly. What we may have to do is just put some temporary residential, just because there is demand for it, and that will allow these to connect. Yep, like there. So now we got power. And yes, I did put residential there specifically because I plan to destroy it. It is somewhat silly that, yeah, but I made the mistake of coming just to here because I figured, you know, the commercial here would grow. Anyway, that's going to be it for me today. I ran a little bit longer than I wanted to for this episode, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. My name is Scott for SB Gaming, and I'll definitely have a lot more City Skylines coming to you, even though I may be a little bit late on the uptake because the game's been out for 2 weeks and all the streamers have hit. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and see you next time.